Different styles of human thinking. Human thinking and locust trap. We have observed ordinary human thinking to be a trap for itself, similar to the situation of the locust caught in fishermen's nets effortlessly, because of the rough scales covering its body, causing it to stick to the nets with no effort. The same phenomenon happens to humans, where their thinking is always limited to mere reactions to external stimuli. This limitation becomes clear in their inability to handle similar and recurring situations in their lives. Therefore, it is beneficial to always resort to alternative thinking methods, to break free from these confined boundaries and limitations. It articulated this concept by Sir Charles Geoffrey Vickers, October 13, 1894 to March 16, 1982, when he referred to the human mind as the locust trap. The reality confirms the diversity and multitude of human thinking patterns and styles, ranging from the known to the public to the private, and the unknown to the public but known to the private. In fact, most references related to human thinking styles show that there are various types and forms of thinking. These include primary patterns, complex patterns, surface patterns, and deep patterns. We will explore together most of these thinking styles. However, our focus will ultimately be on the prevalent thinking styles, through which we can recognize their characteristics and the limitations that might affect them. We will start with unfamiliar styles and patterns of thinking. Consensual thinking. Flexibility characterizes this style of thinking when exchanging ideas, and the ability to comprehend issues related to the subject under discussion. Those who rely on this thinking style possess the capacity to embrace the ideas of others. They can alter their thought trajectory to find a middle ground that combines their approach with that of others. Individuals employing this approach excel at bridging the mental gaps among individuals when deciding related to problem solving, or necessary enhancements within an organization, business enterprise, or relevant company. This thinking style inclines towards interlinking an individual's thoughts with those of others, aiding the individual in overcoming challenges and adopting a policy of reciprocity in every situation they encounter. Authoritarian thinking. Spontaneous instant reactions and swift decision-making characterize this style of thinking, often involving either outright rejection expressed through criticism, without considering the possibility of change, or an inability to tolerate ambiguity or psychological pressure. Creative articulation, embracing acceptance of the matter at hand, is notably absent in this approach. We can attribute the adoption of this thinking pattern by some individuals to misguided social upbringing methods. It embodies closed-mindedness, clinging to extreme ideas marked by rigidity and steadfastness to principles, with a tendency towards absolute rejection or acceptance. Its proprietor possesses a superficial view of life, indicating hostility towards scientific thinking. Unfortunately, this style of thinking prevails among military personnel, characterized by the saying, "execute, then discuss," which hinders adaptation to events and the consideration of others' opinions. This approach instills fear, erodes self-confidence, and curtails boldness and initiative. Thinking beyond knowledge. This thinking pattern considered one of the highest levels of cognition, demanding continuous practice of planning, monitoring, and evaluation by the individual. It represents an advanced form of self-reflective thinking, where the individual observes oneself and assesses how their mind operates, reflecting on the thinking style being employed. Inferential thinking. This approach relies on logic, applying general rules to establish the validity of specific issues. Theories in geometry, for instance, are general rules because they prove their validity through evidence. Each logical argument is a specific case, and when employing deductive reasoning, it is crucial to note that every step must be based on a valid premise. We do not consider any step lacking this foundation valid. Through this thinking style, the individual deduces the accuracy of a specific judgment based on other established judgments. We can observe this process in the way judges decide in rulings. Superstitious thinking. This style of thinking falls outside the realm of scientific origin, as it does not rely on logical evidence or experimentation. Instead, it leans on fictional stories and myths. This style of thinking serves as an individual's refuge to find non-natural causes to explain or solve natural problems, attributing them to incorrect or mysterious reasons that cannot be determined or controlled. The traits of this style of thinking point to an individual's tendency to connect their thoughts through unreal links. For example, some individuals fabricate events that don't seem causative or occur coincidentally in a random manner. They establish a causality between them devoid of a meaningful relationship. This style of thinking is based on a mysterious and irrational foundation, where imagination, although unjustifiable, relies on a semblance of rationality and logic. This pattern attributes certain natural phenomena to metaphysical causes or incorrect reasons. Reflective thinking. This style of thinking is one that some resort to when faced with a situation or problem that requires a suitable solution. This type of thinking considered one of the higher mental processes, as emphasized by John Dewey in his book, How We Think. Dewey asserted educational models presented to students would help them develop their unique approaches, contemplate the world, and confront hypothetical situations or solve any problem they encounter. Charles Hubbard also used the concept of contemplative thinking when focusing on solving social problems. Connective thinking. The term holistic thinking, or referred to as interactive thinking, relies on cognitive abilities to connect an individual's knowledge, experiences, and expertise to solve problems or achieve specific goals. The interconnected innovation of ideas or events is the successful outcome of such a style of thinking. We can observe this when facing challenges at both the individual and societal levels, or when searching for ways to make life more favorable. The process of linking or engaging in this style of thinking involves connecting stimuli, triggers, and responses in various situations based on repetition, trial and error, and learning. Insightful thinking. Insightful thinking, also known as perspicacious thinking, arises from understanding and recognizing the motivational forces behind an individual's actions, thoughts, or behaviors. It is a thinking style where an individual reaches a sudden solution by genuinely contemplating the problem and understanding its elements and relationships until it achieves the insight phase. Top thinking. The style of top thinking is rich in concepts and involves self-organization of the thinking process. It seeks exploration and questioning through research, study, or dealing with various life situations. This style enables individuals to memorize related information and recall it with no active thinking, similar to skilled drivers handling complex tasks after extensive training. Conceptual thinking. This style of thinking emerges to analyze various theoretical ideas and plan how to connect them, developing an alternative approach to problem solving. It involves tackling a problem or idea within the human mind to arrive at an appropriate perspective. Cognitive thinking. The cognitive thinking style, also known as cognitive reasoning, is the mental process humans use for thinking, reading, learning, remembering, and paying attention. Ultimately, it involves understanding information and transforming it into knowledge. Humans can then convert this knowledge into decisions and actions. Visual thinking. Visual thinking, also known as visual learning, spatial thinking, or thinking in pictures, is a phenomenon that allows thinking through visual processing such as viewing words as a series of images. Individuals with this thinking style rely on using visual media, such as symbolic or suggestive graphics, to interact with the outside world and form various concepts. This style is associated with an individual's ability for abstract thinking.